Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 463. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, from beautiful Savage, Minnesota. Having a great afternoon, loving life, and I am joined by a good friend of Secret Friends Unite, who we podcasted many times before, and he's here to help us in the long absence because Charlie is lost at sea with trekkers. We'll see who survives and who gets ate. And that special guest is Mr. Chris from 1 Hour, One Decision. CJ, how you doing?
I am doing all right, Todd. Thanks so much for having me on. I am excited to be on this show yet again, talking about everything geek. And yeah, let's do this.
All right. Before we get into it, we want to thank our Patreons who make this possible. Chris is one of those Patreons. And thank you, Chris, for your support of this show. It doesn't necessarily guarantee you'll be on the show, but we do like the people that do support us. And those people are our friends with benefits: John Sedorf, Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, Brandon Myers, Corey in HD, and Matthew Keel. Joined by the BFFs, Sean Stella and Henry Nias, and Missy Merchant. Once again, Patreons get no ads in their podcasts, which is fantastic. And also, we are now on YouTube podcasts, which is a thing. Google Podcasts died, so YouTube Podcasts could exist. We've added our shows there, so check them out. Essentially, you're on YouTube and you just get a picture of our logo and our wonderful voices versus if you don't want to see our wonderful faces from video. So check it out and enjoy the show, and look forward to more Patreon content coming to you very shortly. But with that, we got to get into the meat of the show. Chris, are you ready for We Got This Covered?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So February 1951 graced us with Batman number 63. This comic, typically we describe what it looks like and then we want reactions from it. So Batman, it's got Batman swinging through the towers of Gotham. Robin's at the roof looking up, and we see a weird looking villain with guns. I guess those are Lululemon pants that are striped, shirtless. And that is the origin of this issue contains the origin of the Killer Moth. There's also a Killer Moth symbol in the sky, so someone requested that he appear, and basically it says, "Read about the most bizarre criminal Batman and Robin have ever encountered in the origin of the Killer Moth." So, Chris,
Yeah,
what's your take on this cover?
this is quite. I mean, I'm also a bit flabbergasted that the Killer Moth has his own signal that someone's calling him. Like that's something. But yeah, like this is that classic wait, you said it's 1951 style cover, so you it's simple, but like you see something's about to go down. Batman is ready to swing into the Killer Moth. Looks like he's on a string too, so where is he swinging from?
It's hard to tell. Yeah, it does look like there may be a string involved, which would just be really weird because
It's like it's
World-
interesting.
Where is he going? Because he can't go very far.
It's like I
So
mean, this is a comic book. They could have just let him have the wings and fly. They almost wanted to make it practical in some way. I'm like, all right, well, I'll give you credit for that, but
yeah,
whatever.
no one needed that.
Yeah.
So this comic was 52 big pages, and it actually had like I think I'm just reading here right now. So these are the stories that within it. So
Mm,
Joker's crime costumes was the first story. We had the case of the flying saucers was another story in this comic. We got the origin of the killer moth. So essentially 3 stories, 52 pages each, which is kind of crazy. Back in the day, you got like 3 standalone adventures, which I
yeah.
guess made your money worth it. And yeah, Killer Moth is quite the interesting looking dude. But the thing that stood out to me, I'll read the synopsis for Joker's crime costumes. You like
Uh-huh.
this? During a charity exhibition about Batman in Gotham City, the Joker becomes aware that a very important part of Batman's crime-fighting career is the arsenal of bat suits, which allows him to conquer every kind of situation. Thus, the Joker decides to start a new crime spree with different costumes. As usual, the first crimes are successful until the scheme is discovered, is ultimately captured by Batman. And the one thing I like is because antagonists, it says Joker, and then underneath that is Soupy. So did he have like an alternate superhero named Soupy?
Soupy, not even SUPEY or something. It's SOU, like chicken noodle soup or something like that. So that's all right.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, old comics, they were simple.
Yeah,
You know, and you got a lot for
it-
your money for 10 cents. What can you
yeah.
ask
I
for?
guess so. Yes, guess so. I'd be curious if someone actually has this like in pretty good condition. I'm sure it's
Oh,
still
it's probably on DC Universe Infinite. And that's one thing we've done in the past is we'll have an
Mhm.
episode where we'll take the covers we'll randomly pick covers we've done before,
Yeah.
and then we have to read them, and we actually have to get knowledgeable. So we kind of are only hurting ourselves when I randomly pick these really bad covers.
Okay. Well, sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, it's the price I pay for the content people love, Chris. So
Yeah.
hopefully it put a smile on someone's face, and it allows people to maybe discover their next favorite comic book from years past. But with that, Chris, it's now time for us to check in with our gal pal, our senior news correspondent. So without further delay, Madam Webb, take it away.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Chris, I don't know if you knew about this, but Madam Web had a movie that debuted last week. Apparently, she's deciding to maybe change her name, so she does not get associated with that film. So, if you have any suggestions for new names for Madam Web, please let us know because she's ready to go under witness protection.
Oh my goodness! And your guys' review was great, by the way. That was like I was like,
Well, thank you.
well, and very brave of you to actually go and watch it in theater.
Oh yeah, we
Oh, man.
tried to find people that were willing. No one put time aside that weekend to watch Madam Web. I wonder why.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could have seen it in theaters and just heard the groans and moans or the lack of any emotion from the theater.
The silence in the theater when you realized there was just you.
Oh man. Oh, it's amazing.
Oh yes, yes. So well, you know what? Maybe second time's a charm, and she'll get a second chance. But you never know.
Maybe.
So let's get in. So let's get in the news this week. We have got a long-awaited, or maybe long, nervous reaction to the Borderlands trailer. The
Yeah.
Borderlands movie is based upon the Borderlands video game series that debuted. I want to say early. Was it was on the 360 PS3 era. I mean, I guess we're talking like early 2010s or late 2000s.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but there have been like literally 4 games. There's been a Telltale spin-off, merch everywhere now for all these main characters. Yeah, it's a series essentially set in a dystopian planet where people are looking for treasure in these vaults. So you get these vault hunters. It feels like a little bit of Mad Max with a little bit of Twisted Metal thrown in. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the best description, I guess. Comedic, tongue in cheek. They've got characters like Mr. McShooty Face or something like that, where you have to shoot him in the face. You've got mutants. You've got Tiny Tina, a crazy preteen teen who likes to explode things and run DM. You've got just various different characters that are all, I've got cool villains like Handsome Jack, who's a little bit self-deprecating. So there we go. Well, this film has been essentially licensed to be made by Eli Roth, which you may know from did Hostel, has done a lot of films. He just did that Thanksgiving film. So typically horror, but he loves to play with camp and joking as well. And in the
2009,
midst
by
of
the way.
this,
That was
2009. So wow, okay, so 15 years it's been around. And I don't know if people largely outside of gaming know these characters, but they will now.
Yeah, They sure will.
Yeah, this didn't debut at the Super Bowl either, which maybe they just knew that wasn't worth the money spending on that. The interesting part is the cast.
Yeah.
So Kate Blanchett, Oscar winner,
Mhm.
is playing Lilith. We also have Kevin Hart as Roland, and Roland's a big dude. Kevin Hart is
Yeah.
not. Jack Black playing Claptrap, who's a comedic
Perfect.
biped robot, I guess, with one eye. Kind of looks like a minion if it was a minion was a
Yeah.
robot.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis playing Halloween, and quite honestly, I don't remember who Halloween is, to be honest.
Hmm. Really?
Maybe it's a
That's
new
the name of
character.
her character?
Oh, no, sorry, I'm wrong. That was
I
her
was like,
credit in Halloween. That'd be a little though. We have a character in Halloween. Who do you get? No, it's Tanis. Sorry, it's Tanis.
Tannis.
I'm
All
like,
right. I was like, oh yeah, she looked kind of like Tannis, but yeah.
Tanis. Very good. Ariana Greenblatt. Trying to remember who she is. She was in Barbie. She was the daughter in Barbie.
Oh, okay.
She's playing Tiny Tina.
Yeah. Yep.
Florian Monteau, who is in Creed 2, is playing Krieg. Is that the
The big,
is that the
Nemesis.
mutant?
Yeah. He's the
Oh,
one with
okay.
the. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Okay,
Greek.
got it. Okay. Got it.
Mhm.
And then
One
we
of the
have
side
Edgar Ramirez as Atlas. Atlas is another character, correct? One of the main selectable characters you play,
Nice.
I believe. I
Yeah.
mean,
Maybe it's been a while since I played the Borderlands series. But
me
yeah.
too. I usually have fallen off the Borderlands recently. I love 2. I played the other ones, so yeah, I can't really speak to all the story beats and details, but I would say that's not going to be a large ask for this movie series because, quite honestly, it's not a deep story. It's very much tongue in cheek, over the top violence, fart humor.
Mhm.
So with that, Chris,
Yeah.
understanding everything I've walked through, what'd you think of the trailer?
I think it looks like it'd be a fun time. Definitely like it's coming out at the end of the summer. It definitely feels like a summer movie. I don't know. It's for some reason I feel like this could be a surprisingly good movie. Like I don't want to say as good uh, as like Guardians in a way, but like I don't know. It'd be interesting to see because it looks like there could be something interesting here. Because at least from what I'm seeing, this might be kind of like the prequel to the first game. Because these are characters that you don't I don't believe you play in any of the like Lilith.
She's
Lilith is
part 2,
like
right?
she's in part one. She's the one
Oh,
that
okay.
like tells you if I recall, I mean correct me if I'm wrong, but
Oh, yeah, that's
she's the
right.
one that like tells you to like how to get into the vault and all that other stuff. But and then she becomes, a bigger character throughout the game. And I don't even think did they even talk about Handsome Jack in this? Like have they even cast a Handsome Jack? So like
I don't think that. Let's see.
interesting.
I'm just looking at the summary they give if they state if anything about a villain.
Mhm.
They don't. And basically, Lilith is looking for her missing. No, she's looking. Oh, here it is. She's looking to find the missing. So this is the premise. Probably should read this.
Yeah.
Lilith, an infamous outlaw with a mysterious past, reluctantly returns to her home planet of Pandora to find the missing daughter of the universe's most powerful SOB, Atlas.
So isn't that
So
Handsome
that is.
Jack?
I don't think so.
What gun
I'm gonna look it up.
manufacturer was he?
Yeah, Atlas Borderlands. Let's see if that gives us an idea of. Atlas guns tend to have a high damage, high frame rate. There's Tails from Borderland 2. Is he a character? Was he in that?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know much about Atlas. Yeah. Interesting. Well, we'll find out more, I guess. Folks, along for the ride, once again, the story of Borderlands is never that memorable to me,
Yeah.
but it is a fun ride while you're into it. Now, the interesting part is the type of movie this is. And I don't know if they have a rating yet.
Hyperion, by the way, is Handsome Jack's weapon manufacturer.
Manufacturer. Okay, got it. And I don't know if I see a rating.
Mm.
It seems like this would be R rated, but maybe not
Yeah.
because they want more like teens in to see this, especially when they talk about, oh, that is piss. That's what's one of the quotes of the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. The interesting part about this is, though, Deadpool and Wolverine is 2 weeks before this. I think it's 2
Yeah.
weeks before this. So is that too close to have two movies that are kind of dealing with like adult humor, over the top goofiness? Is it too close? Should they have like said Borderlands just drop in like April or May when there's a movie not like this out?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, my assumption is that most everyone would have gone and seen Deadpool Wolverine at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, a month, but like this is like one of the only things that Marvel is dropping this year, and
Yes.
so I feel like there's going to be and of course it's Deadpool, so it's like there's that whole thing. There's a lot of implications into this movie as well. I know we're talking about something not entirely Borderlands, but like maybe this kind of rides the wave of that Deadpool kind of like, hey, you're already in the theaters. Why don't you come see us as well? Kind of.
Come back in 3 weeks for more of the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it might be that. And Eli Roth's not like a terrible director or anything like that. I
Oh,
think
no.
I think he could do a good. I think he might have fun with this too. So that's like, I feel like this could be a fun time to watch. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check it out.
I think that's one of the only reasons I feel like this could be decent is
Yeah.
because of Eli Roth. And it is funny. Craig Mazin, who wrote The Last of Us and Chernobyl fame,
Mhm.
he was originally created as one of the writers, and he fought to have
Really?
his name removed from the project.
Oh my gosh, really?
That you normally don't
Yikes.
hear about that. So that could be,
Okay.
head scratcher. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
well. Well, we'll see. Typically August, there's not much out in the theaters, so
Yeah.
I will probably see this anyways for a good laugh.
Yeah.
But people did like Twisted Metal, that series on
That was fun.
on Peacock. So maybe there's more there. Maybe this audience is just not finding a place to watch,
Yeah.
comedic, goofy humor. So
Right. Yeah.
with some bullets. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that leads us into another trailer about a movie I knew nothing about. I just knew there was a movie with Bill Skarsgård, and it says he's buff, and the movie is called Boy Kills World. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And then Sam Raimi is producing this, and it's got Famke Janssen, Sharlto Copley from was it blanking on the movie? It was District 9.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Him. Yep.
Yeah, so a lot of the other people I don't know, but what got me in this movie is the fact that he says he's deaf and he didn't
mute.
have an internal voice and mute.
Yeah.
And so he selected one from a video, an arcade game that he played, I guess, before he went deaf. And the voice is none other than Archer and Bob's Burgers voice, H. John Benjamin.
Yep.
Which I just like at that point, I'm like, I'm all in. I love his voice so much. I'm such a big fan.
Yeah.
And that's what we have. And
you got at least 60 more minutes, 60 or 90 minutes. I don't know how long the movie's supposed to be, but of H. John Benjamin, serenading you about this entire movie. So good for him.
Yeah. And it's essentially a revenge film about him trying to avenge his sister. And I really do like Bill Skarsgård, and I never anticipated him. I mean, he played Pennywise. I never anticipated him to be like an action star, which I think is such a really brave choice.
I mean, like he could now you see him in this trailer. He definitely put in the work to get buff. So MCU next, DCU next. Who knows?
He could. I mean,
Right?
It's almost like too on the nose to say, could he play a version of the Joker in a new Batman film? I mean, is that too on the nose? A clown? He played a clown.
Yeah.
Probably not. Let him do something different,
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Joker. We never really see Joker being this ripped. So maybe something like
a Joker who speaks with his fists, not with his mouth. His punchlines, get it?
Yeah. Oh, come on, Todd. thing.
Oh, come on, Chris. You got
All right.
kids. You have to
I
tell them
do.
goofy
I
jokes.
do. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah. You've got to get some new ones. So there you go. Put it in your arsenal.
Thanks.
Um, so yeah, and this movie, it is kind of a goofy tone. It feels kind of John
Mhm.
Wick-esque, kind of like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Nobody,
Yes. More. Yeah. I
which
feel like it's
was,
more. Well, I don't know. I don't
it's
think
a little goofy.
this movie's gonna. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think this movie's gonna take itself too seriously.
No.
Obviously, with H. John Benjamin doing most of the like thought voice acting here or whatnot, you want to call it, or narration. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, I think it'd just be a fun time, like another one of those movies that you just kind of turn off your brain and enjoy all the action that happens. I feel like we need more of these movies. There was another movie that just I don't
Yeah.
know if it came out yet. Monkey Man.
Monkey Man, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
like
With
that looks
Dev
awesome.
Patel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm here
think
for it.
John Wick and even Judge Dredd had
Yeah.
that
Oh
feel
yeah.
of taking like Asian cinema of these very stripped down, lean, driven character
Hmm.
that is and they take the action serious. It's not like Stallone or those guys where it's goofy over the top and
Yep.
but these guys actually train for the part and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, I
And
I definitely love these. Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the actors in this. One of the guys looks familiar to me. I think he was in the Thai film. Oh my god, I'm gonna. That wasn't Thai. Was it? Um, it was the cop movie. Where it was very similar. The Raid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that, and that's cool. So, like, if you see him in it, I'm like, all right, I'm excited because that means the action is probably going to be halfway decent. He's like a legit kind of action star, and super excited about
Yeah, Isaiah Mustafa, if you remember him, he's the really buff dude from the Old Spice commercials. He goes, "I'm a
Oh,
man on a
nice.
horse."
Wow. He's in this too? That's
So
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So
Nice.
April 26th, perfect time too. It's right before the summer kicks off. Not a lot of big movies, and this could really, speak to a lot of people that just want a really cool, just
Yeah,
cinema time, no brainer, and just enjoy the ride.
yeah, I'm here.
Well, very cool. Well, our next one is not a trailer. The story is all about what we're hearing is about is like all of these Game of Thrones spin-offs that are going to be coming out. So we had a couple that didn't go forward, and we actually got some pictures of, I believe, some of the characters in it. They just took some pictures, so that one's not happening. It was a once again, it's supposed to be a prequel in a different era. So we've had House of Dragons, which kind of renewed people's faith in maybe Game of Thrones after the way Game of Thrones ended, kind of unceremoniously, ran out of source material.
Yep.
A lot of people weren't happy about it. Even the instant travel they developed later in seasons, where previously it took them a whole season to get somewhere, and in the last season, it's like, I took the bullet train. The dragon train. I don't know what they take.
Yeah,
Portals. We have portals now. Yeah.
maybe. You never know.
Yeah. Well, we are hearing about the latest spin-off called The Hedge Knight. It's a 2025 release date, obviously on Max. And it's going to be a spin-off series. It's going to be called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight. So this is actually based off completed stories by George R. Martin. So there
Yeah,
is
yeah.
source material. It's not just a sketchbook, with some words and say Game of
Right,
Thrones.
right.
Fill in the blank. Mad Libs, George, Game of Thrones, George.
Yeah.
And it's essentially a story of two characters, Dunk and Egg. So Dunk is the future Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Sir Duncan the Tall, and Egg is the future King Aegon Targaryen, which we already met in House of Dragons. So this is their early adventures before he became a walking corpse, in House of Dragons, and essentially 100 years before the events of the novels of of the novels. So it's going to be young, naive, but courageous knight and his diminutive squire, set in an age when the Targaryen line still holds the Iron Throne, and the memory of the last dragon has not yet passed from living memories. So I kind of view this, maybe this is going to be a different take where it's not going to be so deep into like the political aspects, who's
Mhm.
going to marry who's sleeping with who. It's going to be more about like they're just having adventures
Yeah.
in the land, which
Like
I
have
think opens up a lot of great story opportunities to
yeah.
tell, to open up the world, visit other areas, and build upon the mythology, which, sometimes when you get like this huge story, there's
Right.
cool stories that can also be told.
Yeah, like this I don't know why this popped in my head, but like kind of like the Kevin Sorbo Hercules kind of style of like show. Like it could be yeah, like a monster or whatever villain of the week kind of thing could be that. Like that could be kind of fun if they do that. But I don't know how if they're going to go that route in a way, but
Like,
it could be
yeah,
fun.
monster of the week, or,
Yeah,
hey, we're going on multiple adventures looking for
right.
bounties.
Yeah.
The dragons captured a princess.
I mean, I don't know
Sure.
how serious the show has to be, but if they go a little like fun,
Lighter.
lighter, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, kinda like The Witcher. The Witcher, when it was first started off, there were, like,
Yeah,
Salem episodes I thought were fun, and then
yeah,
it got, darker and had to have one connecting story. I'm like,
right,
mix a little bit of joy in there.
exactly. So yeah, why not? This
Oh,
world is already kind of dreary as it is. So before you know all that stuff happens, maybe the world was a little bit happier.
maybe, maybe it's a good time just to drink, have fun, and, kill some monsters or some
Right.
bad guys,
Yeah.
and yeah, hopefully, we'll see how this one goes. So yeah, 2025, and once again, HBO is always looking, or Max is always looking for, milking franchises where maybe there was no choice before,
Yep.
so we'll see how this goes, but if it's done well, I will probably watch, because I love fantasy, and there's not a lot of great fantasy, so I'll take it
Yeah.
where I can get it. Um, Also in the world of TV, and this is with Sony, where they own essentially all the Spider-Man characters,
Yep.
and yet they still don't make things with Spider-Man in them.
No.
They're looking for that Disney check so they can make another MCU film, apparently. But they are developing some TV shows, so maybe this could be where they find their space outside of Spider-Verse, which we like those
Mhm.
films, really well done.
Yeah.
But those take a long time and they're animated, so something live action, maybe with different creators, could do well. And we essentially are going to talk about two different properties. So we have the character Silk, Cindy Moon. She is essentially a newer character in the Spider-Man mythology. She was essentially has spider powers, but she was essentially imprisoned and was captured for years and treated horribly. So she escapes, and this is her story essentially. My wife is a big fan of her comic, and it was going to be run, and it's going to come to Amazon, and apparently
Oh.
everybody from the writers room has been fired except for the
Oh
showrunner,
no.
Angela Kang. And
Yikes.
let me
Great
ask you
start.
this
Great
question:
start.
if this, yeah, and this is even better, Chris. See if this sounds good to you. Basically, the outlet claims the series will now be retooled with more of a male skewing audience in mind.
Oh.
I mean, your main character is female,
Hmm.
and she's younger, so she's probably like 19, 20.
Uh,
How does that work for male skewing?
oh no. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, Todd. That sounds like a bad idea. That sounds like a bad idea. But like as long as they make her like a badass, spider person, like I could say like like the whole point of Reacher, right, is that he's just like a badass. He doesn't care, like but he's also like a truck, so that's a
Yeah,
different story. But
it's
but
Murder She Wrote with muscles.
yeah, there you go. So now it's just Murder She Wrote with spider powers. Maybe that's what it
There you
is. Maybe
go.
that's
Maybe
what
that's
they're
all we
doing.
need. Just
Yeah,
Murder She Wrote blank blank.
yeah. There you go. So maybe I'm here for that.
Remind me, that's going to be the title of this episode. Murder She Wrote with muscles.
There you go. But the fact that they fired the entire writing room and then said let's just start over, that's either shows that hopefully the showrunner has a bit more confidence in what they want to do, and hopefully they've read maybe a Silk comic or two to get ideas about what the show is about, or at least what the character is. So yeah, that hopefully that's where we're going in a
Well,
positive
until
direction.
we hear who the writers are, and we then find out if it's actually the writers of Madam Web, maybe we'll take this
Oh
back.
no, God, Tom.
It's the
Ay,
curse.
ay.
Yeah, it's the monkey
Oh
paw.
well.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we'll see what it is. But yeah, they're two of their biggest hits on Amazon are Reacher and The Boys. And
Yeah.
we do know that The Boys, they do kind of handle their female characters pretty well. They're
Yeah.
empowered, strong, which I especially Gen V, I thought did a great
Mhm.
job with those characters. So maybe Amazon typically has pretty high quality shows when I've watched them.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some more like direction that
Yeah.
they can be involved because they have to show that.
Fingers
I mean,
crossed.
they're like, we got to put this on the air, and
Yeah.
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 So that is the first one. So hopefully something good happens with that. But then we have another show that I knew was happening, but I didn't know much about it, and that is Spider-Man Noir. So Spider-Man Noir was part of the Spider-Verse in the comics. Was created basically looks like a 1930s, basically Spider-Man who's like a gumshoe. Very
Yeah.
cool. He was in the Spider-Verse film, voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Apparently there's some synergy there because now they're talking about he's in serious talk to actually play the live action version of
Really?
Spider-Man Noir.
Wow. Hey, man, I feel like he's always up for something. He's like, yeah, you know what? You're doing something with the character I've done already. I'm cool. I'm in. Like he wants to do it, and he's like, it'd be fun. I'd be really curious how they incorporate Nick into this. If he actually is going to be putting on the suit and doing it, or you know, or he just does a voice like this article mentions. He just kind of voices the character.
Maybe
I
unlike
don't know.
Halo, he'll never take off his mask.
That would be great. That'd be
And then he
great.
can just be, he'll have his mask on all the time, but he'll always be like shirtless and pantless, though. He'll do the opposite. Like the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Can never take my helmet off. But you can see everything else. It's here for you, baby. And Nicolas Cage is like, well, I've got to be the body double, but my face, I don't need my face on there. You just need my body. Yeah.
Have you seen him in Ghost Rider? That guy was jacked in Ghost Rider. I was like, whoa.
Ghost Rider was like a long time ago.
I mean, it was, but he's got funds to give himself some personal trainer,
Peck implants.
Yeah, peck implants, and
Okay.
all that stuff. So
you know
possible.
what? You know what? Nick Cage, he's not bigger. He doesn't think he's bigger than the material. So you know what?
Right.
Kudos to Nick, and
Yeah.
he's not bigger than taking a paycheck from whoever will offer it to him.
Exactly. So there you go.
Well, we'll see how this goes because both of these are interesting. And you know what? Back in the MCU days, did anybody really know who Iron Man was? Did anybody know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were? Did they think Thor could be pulled off? So maybe they're finding their way after the disaster that Madam Web was. Maybe they can figure out maybe better creators, and do these in TV. Maybe TV is where they really should be putting their efforts versus the big screen.
There you go.
Well, we will see.
Let the folks at Tim Lord and all that stuff manage the movie stuff.
That would be so fantastic.
Yeah. There you go.
Get them in, Lord and Miller, get them in there, let them be in charge, and then pick the directors, and then let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Lastly, we have a comic book story, and we don't always talk about comic book stories because there's always something changing in comic books. There's so many, and it's like, well, what's changing this week? It's never ending. But this one was interesting because we've had a lot of heritage characters that have like, you don't hear about them anymore. They essentially are kind of languishing. The IPs, no one's doing anything with it, and can come back in comic books. We've seen G.I. Joe, the most recent runs on G.I. Joe, Duke, Transformers. The comic books are really becoming popular because they're really giving it the creative energy it needs to be successful. So we're getting a Space Ghost comic. So if anybody doesn't know who Space Ghost is, he was a cartoon character designed by I'm blanking his name.
Hanna-Barbera kind of thing, or?
Well, he was designed by a comic book creator, Toth. Alex Toth was his name. He designed a lot of iconic looking characters like Thundar the Barbarian and Yeah.
Oh,
So when he did that, but then the comic was essentially the cartoon was then done by Hanna-Barbera, so it was goofy, silly, and not the best in the world. But Space Ghost was always an iconic looking
it
character.
was.
He looked cooler than anything else to do with them.
Yeah.
So he, I think the last time we saw Space Ghost was in Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which people were
So
like,
good.
that was almost
So
20 years ago now, Todd. So yeah.
it was.
Great show, very funny, but basically just a comedic riff on Space Ghost if he became a night show host, and it was great. But we are getting a comic book version of Space Ghost now, where they're basically taking almost a ground up approach where, hey, nobody knows about him, nobody really cares about him now, so we're actually going to take him seriously and give him a cool origin, give him great artwork, and tell a cool story. So we are getting that in May. David Propose and Jonathan Lau. And then covers being designed by Francesco Mattina, Jay Lee, who I love, and Bjorn Berens and Michael Cho. And WB owns the character, and they also own DC. But this is not by DC. This is by Dynamite, who does a lot of IPs and properties
Okay.
other people own. They're also doing Flintstones, Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Quest, Wizard of Oz, and We Bear Bears as well. And essentially we've got some covers here that some are going to show like more of the retro look, some are more realistic, almost like an Alex Ross version of the cover. But it's basically they're going to retell the stories with the Space Monkey Blip, the two kids, the space teens that go on adventures with them, and this could be pretty cool.
Could be fun. I mean, just because the character design is so simple. Like when you look at the Alex Ross looking one, it looks kind of ridiculous because it's just like one white bodysuit. It's like, all right, well, and he's just like,
Well, at least he's got a belt on to break it up.
this is this is true. He does have a belt.
People
But-
say underpants matter, like those trunks matter. They do. They really do.
They really do. It just looks kind of odd. But yeah, like I'm kind of curious, like how serious will this comic go? Will it still have kind of like the campiness to feel? I mean, that's that's what I'm really curious about. So
Yeah, we'll see if they bring in like all of like the characters you saw in Space Ghost, like Zorak and Moltar and those guys, and then maybe bring in some of like the Herculoids, which is a weird old comic series
Yeah.
as well, or a cartoon series as well. We'll see what happens. So May, check it out. Hopefully, maybe it'll come to Comixology/Kindle, and I'll actually get to read it for free and see if they did a good job renovating Space Ghost. All right. So that is it for the news this week. Thank you, Madam Webb, for bringing us these news bits. Chris will keep thinking of a new alternate ego for you, and maybe we'll have one for you by next week. So now, Chris, it's time for our time at the Geek Easy. But before we do that, it's time to check out an ad that keeps our lights on. Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution, provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Chris, what you got for us this week?
Well, I just finished up a series that I'm kind of I'm glad it's over because if they left, I'm glad they were able to finish it as opposed to like kind of leaving it in the ether. And that was Pantheon. It was an Amazon. Well, it was on Amazon. It was on Amazon, but like Amazon New Zealand and Australia. So use your VPN
okay.
or NordVPN if you want to sponsor this episode or not. But anyway, it's only two seasons, and William Hurt plays basically like a Steve Jobs kind of CEO, and the idea is that you are they're talking about uploaded intelligence. So the idea of taking your conscience and uploading it to the internet so you could live forever, and the consequences, the ramifications of that, and like it's got a bit of a more personal story because one of the main characters in it is a girl who her father worked on this particular project, but he also had some sort of terminal disease, I believe it's a cancer of some sort, and he dies, and then she kind of they're going through the motions of like the loss of him, and then finds out that he was actually uploaded to this to the internet, and now he's like reaching out to her and saying like trying to start this relationship up, and she's like, what happened, like how did this happen? And so there's that whole mystery of that going on. Really interesting concept, and I think the animation team behind it was the same animation team from oh man, Venture Brothers and stuff like that. It's the same animation studio.
Okay.
But it looks similar to like Invincible.
Okay.
In the art style. So I don't know why I thought so. I initially thought it was by that same studio, but it is not. Titmouse, I believe, is the animation studio. So
okay.
yeah, good. It was a fairly quick, not many episodes there, but I would recommend if you're able to grab a VPN or whatever of it and check it out. But it is it's cool. It's cool. It's a cool show, and it makes you really think about like that whole idea, because there's conversations about, are you still a human if you're if your body is that you don't have a body anymore, you don't die anymore, so it's like what happens? So all that kind of questions like that are posed throughout the show.
How did you find this? Because I've never heard of it.
I don't know. I was I think I was like going through like one of those YouTube videos of like a Invincible breakdown, and then like I just think I read a comment below, and someone's like, oh, it makes me want to like check out Pantheon again. I was like, what the heck is Pantheon? And so I just kind of looked it up, because again, like the art style is very similar, so I was like, oh, it's by the same studio or whatever. And yeah, I just watched the trailer and I was like, okay, I'm in. And then yeah, I've been also just going through Halo season 2. It does seem a little bit better, but he does still stay out of the suit quite a lot. So we're on a Discord together that everyone seems to be super excited about this most recent episode. And yeah, it was definitely an interesting episode.
I'm on 3. I just finished 3.
Yeah.
So I have not watched the most recent episode, but I have a feeling what it's going to cover.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I remember the group, everybody was saying that first 20 minutes of episode 1 of the season.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, if it's more of that, I am all in. And I'm like, I feel like, nope, that was about it. That's all you got of that style of that. And then it went back to, oh, is Chief going insane? Do you trust him? There's this new antagonist, which you can't trust. And then we're back to Quan and Soren and that stuff, the side stuff. And there's been very little actual action that you think of Halo. So it's 4 since you watched it. And I'm just gonna, is it redeemed with more action? I know
There's
he's not really being Chief, he's being John more than Chief.
yeah, there's definitely more action in it, but again, and then like they say something in this episode, I'm like, oh my god, why did they do that? I was just so annoyed about it. But again, like I know it's supposed to be like a different version of the
Yeah.
story. So
Yeah, Silver
okay,
Timeline, I
fine.
think is what they called it.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that okay? Right,
yeah.
Silver Team. So but but I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, so and I believe I understood in the video game Reach, there's some stuff that happens there. And I'm like, well, was he part of that as well? It's all this stuff that happens. You're like, okay, I guess it works, but uh it's good. Like, I mean, it is definitely more action oriented than the other three. I'll say it like that.
Yeah,
But
got it.
yeah, it's fine so far.
I wonder if it's a budgetary thing.
It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, because I feel like when they have done those action sequences, I'm like, this is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
know, hey, I forgive it for certain things, but I just feel like and Charlie doesn't play games, so
Yeah.
he has said he enjoys it. So
Okay.
maybe it's just the people that are the fans care, and anybody else going into it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's an interesting story.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we're getting to know this hero, and he's kind of like almost like a war vet, and
Yeah.
the PTSD, of soldiers, totally get it.
Mhm.
It's just a challenge that it's like. Then some people said, hey, why does it even need to be about Master Chief? Should it be something else? So I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. It's fine. Oh, there's another kind of I'm sure you'll find it. There's like a little Easter egg in near the end of the episode. You're like, "Oh, okay." I
Okay.
don't know. It's kind of like whatever. But again, it was like a lot of it was like it was just kind of like all right, well, yeah, I guess you did it. This is the thing. So just finish the season. I don't know. I
Finish the
don't know.
fight, finish the season.
Finish the fight, finish the season. So I don't know, but it's been okay. It's been okay.
Got it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I do need to finish up The Witcher season 3 because I kind
Oh,
of finished at the halfway point or whatever. I need to get back into that. So the last
I
Henry
I I
Cavill.
liked I liked the last season,
Yeah,
but yes, it did not leave me with a feeling of like I don't know what they're going to do. Quite
yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
now that we know what we know, I wish we almost didn't know that
yeah,
it was going to change, and it just happened, and nobody said anything, and it's like, oh, surprise. I don't know. I'm enjoying it for what it is. I'm not one of the people like, oh my god, I can't. I like it for
yeah,
what it is. Like I said,
yeah.
it's pretty decent fantasy. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's pretty
Right,
decent fantasy.
right.
Um, I was gonna say though, on the Pantheon, you talked about the uploading and things like that.
Yeah,
Have you watched Upload on Amazon?
I have not. I do need to watch that. I've
Oh,
heard it's
because
good.
it's such a
Heard it's
more
good.
comedic take, but it covers a lot of these issues. But I
Yeah.
enjoy it quite a bit, and it's got
Okay.
one of the funniest peeing jokes in the world.
Oh. Okay. Good to know.
If you're looking for that.
I need to find a good pee joke. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very cute, very very funny, almost like a or the Good Place type of
Okay.
feel.
Okay. Cool. Check it out.
Well, very cool. Well, I'm only going to be talking about two shows where I watched the first episodes of both. So
Okay.
take this with a grain of salt. You have
Yep.
obviously seen the other one, so I'll talk about the first one, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender, Episode 1 on Netflix. This is the live action series.
Mhm.
For anybody who doesn't know, Avatar: The Last Airbender was a Nickelodeon series, well regarded, well loved, one of my favorite stories of all time.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely love it.
Nice.
Yes. And then there was a movie that did not do the series justice by M. Night Shyamalan,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, see it if you're really morbidly curious, but it's not very good.
Yeah.
Um, so live action, and then there was the Book of Korra, which is I this is my moment of shame. I have not watched it.
Legend
I
or
watched one
it's
episode.
it's
Legend of
Legend of
Korra.
Korra. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Legend of Korra. Yeah, sorry. They have
Book of Boba
books
Fett.
in them,
Yes.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. But I really, really need to because I just like the team. I like the story. So
Yeah.
I've only watched the first episode, but need to get into that. And that's essentially a sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, okay.
But this series, people were nervous because the creator's not involved in this, and this is live action again. Although I would say when I saw, Netflix has really gotten into these adaptations, and I say more of
Yeah.
them are good than bad.
Yeah.
I really liked the One Piece that I saw. I didn't get to see all of it,
That's
but I
fun.
really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. I've enjoyed The Witcher. There's been some others as well, and they're going to be doing more. So
Yeah.
and I've really liked the Umbrella
Academy. Yep.
Academy. Yeah, so I think they do a fairly good job at putting things in people. They've got money, they spend it. So I'll give them credit for that. This is good. I
Is it?
really enjoy it.
Okay.
The cast is really sold me
Yeah.
because it's a lot of unknowns, which is great. So you don't
Mhm.
feel like, oh, it's he or she or them.
Yeah.
Um, and it captures, I think, what you'll see forward, which I think the movie didn't, was a sense of humor. The series has heart, humor, and consequences, joy, action, consequence. This feels like it will. The opening when I saw what they did in the opening, I'm like, okay, this makes me very happy because it really introduced one of the things I love about the show is utilizing the airbending into almost martial arts,
Nice.
tying them together, using the
Yeah.
powers together where it works really well. And there's a great opening sequence between a earthbender and airbenders or
Yeah.
firebenders, and it's really really cool. There's one character that will stand out if you know him, and that is the dad from Kim's Convenience. Also in he was in the Mandalorian as one of the TIE fighter
Yes. Yep.
X-wing fighter pilots.
X-Men Fighters.
So
Yep.
he's in it. Paul, I'm trying to Paul blank on
Blart.
his name, but he plays Uncle he plays Uncle Ero. And one of my favorite characters on the show, and the
Yep.
perfect casting for that. Kind of a comedic relief, but also I would say he's almost the heart of the series, which is great. So yeah, I really like it. I've only watched the first episode. The whole season dropped, so I just watched it this morning. So I will watch the rest of it. But if you've never watched Airbender, I would say check this out. It's probably not going to be as good as the animation, but
Mhm.
maybe this gets you into the animation. That's all I'd
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. And
And
were
and
those?
Chris, you have
Was it?
young kids.
I do.
This is the perfect age for them to watch.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious because I didn't have them. I didn't get them to into One Piece. I love the anime One Piece, but
Hmm.
it's just a lot to kind of
Yeah,
catch up on.
yeah.
Um, and funny enough, actually, Tom, my co-host on my show, he's actually enjoying this show as well, and he was a big Avatar fan. So
Okay.
and he's watched at least I think 3 or 4 of the episodes, and he says it's hitting the tones, hitting the marks
Yes.
about the animated show. So and the one thing that he also brought up was the fact that it's you've got a whole season, like season 1, for example, of the first of the animated show.
Yep.
It's a lot of episodes, a lot of content to go through, and for them to try to for them to break that into a 2.5 hour movie or whatever, however long the movie was, that's rough. Like
Essentially
that's
the whole thing. Yeah, a whole 4 seasons into one 3-hour movie
that's.
was a
I mean,
fool's
like, come
errand.
on, I don't know
Yeah,
why they thought that was a good idea, but so
that's what
yeah,
they used to
like
do, right? I mean, there wasn't a lot of great adaptations of
no.
things.
But like,
So
what that movie came out in what 2010 ish or whatever.
yeah, because the series was the animation was from 2005 to 2008.
Yep.
The movie, I don't know if that has the movie. The original series was only 3 seasons
Yeah.
and 61 episodes, so like 20 per.
That's still a lot of
Um,
content to.
it is, especially when every episode had something good in it, right?
Yeah.
And people will probably be mad that like, oh, my favorite story beat isn't in
Right.
this,
Right.
and it's not meant to.
No. And like it's that was a very like but you had like the Harry Potters, you had the Lord of the Rings and stuff
Yes,
like that. So you could have broken it up. And I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to try to compress everything into one movie. Like
yeah.
you're
2010
you're
was when it came out.
yeah, so you're losing money by doing it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, you had to put out the money for the potential sequels, but like, you know, come on, be a little smarter, guys.
Exactly, and they struggle with their casting too. They essentially whitewashed a lot of characters. This I
Hmm.
feel like the casting is spot on, and I'm optimistic to see where this goes. And Appa looks great. I mean,
Nice.
a flying bison,
Yeah.
sky bison. He looks great. I'm waiting for a few of the other characters to show up, and when Toss shows up, the Earthbender, it's on like Donkey Kong. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
All right.
very good. True Detective. I have not watched any seasons. Chris and I were talking about this earlier. Like, there's questions about the quality of the seasons of 2 and
Right.
3. 1 is regarded as fantastic. Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey in that, and then we've had various stars in the next 2, and then I don't even know if this was that we knew this series was going to happen until recently, but
Yeah.
season 3 or 4 is out by a different showrunner, and so I can't tell you about the other seasons and how this one compares. All I can say is I watched the first episode of season 4, and it's Jodie Foster, set in Alaska. There is a crime. Oh well, kind of a missing persons crime is the best way to put it,
Yeah.
and it's a mix of a little bit of supernatural, a little um, American native. Trying to think of the right term. It's not the one term. Um, it's not Native American. It's
Oh.
the
Oh.
native people
I
of
mean, just
Alaska.
natives. Yeah. I don't know.
Native Alaskans, maybe is the
Yeah.
best way to
Sure.
put it.
Yeah.
Um, it's got some mysticism or beliefs of the people there too, blended in. So I'm intrigued because this show is moody. It's got great introduction. That Billie Eilish song that enters
Hmm.
I love that song. It sets a tone for it,
Yeah.
and the conversations the characters have just feel very natural and a little bit off. The people in Alaska are a little bit goofy, and we're getting into the time of dark for a period of time. So the
Yeah.
one character says people are already starting to get weird, and it's only day 3 of the dark season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you finished this, Chris?
I have. I finished this anthology. Yeah, this season, and it was good. But I will say be prepared to be a little disappointed in that ending. But like I thought Jodie Foster was fantastic throughout the entire um season. I mean, everyone I think did a good job with it. I heard though that this story was actually called Night Country, and then they
Oh, they called it. They
repurposed it. They
adapted it.
repurposed it, yeah, to be a True Detective novel, or
Oh.
True Detective show. So, so they had to like tie it back to some of the stuff that happened in season 1. So, I mean, but again,
So
I think it did well. So,
So based on, have you watched the other True Detective seasons?
yeah, I watched season 1, season 2. I didn't watch season 3 yet. So,
Okay.
but season 1 was good, and yeah, like this is probably this is as of right now, it is like you watch season 1, season 4 is good. I need to season 3 to be determined, and don't watch season 2. So that was
Okay.
that's basically what
Is there anything that you would feel like uh, links these seasons
there
together, or is it just
there
a
is yeah,
detective series? Okay.
there is some
Okay.
stuff that, but again, like I don't know if they like kind of like threw it in there near the end or whatever, or not near the end, but I mean like they threw it in there to give you that kind of callback to season 1. But you know, it's fine. It But yeah, like I mentioned before, I think it was a good like. It's been a while since I've watched like a good kind of who done it show.
Yeah.
So I was happy to check this out.
Yeah, I'm enjoying episode 1. I'm into it because there's some elements I really dig, like the
Yeah,
atmosphere. So I've definitely watched it. It's only 6 episodes long too, which
only
I
six
think is
episodes.
perfect.
Yeah,
There's probably not a lot of fat on the bone, which is great. They tell the stories they want to. They don't
yeah,
drag on too long, and or maybe I'll disagree and say, oh, it should only been 3. I'll find out and report
yeah.
back.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to know what you think about the whole show.
Okay.
So
Well, very, very cool. Well, thank you for everyone who talked about the show that got me to finally get around to watching it. I always say I'll watch it later and end up, surfing the web or something stupid. So I had some quality TV watching time today when I was waiting for
nice,
my wife, as she did. She met with a group this morning. So
nice.
very, very good. Well, that is it for the Geekies. If you have any recommendations for us to, things to check out, watch, read, whatever, let us know. But with that, it's time to leave. We'll leave a tip, even though the service wasn't great, but that's okay. Totally understand what people are going through in this economy. So we're going to leave a tip, and then we're going to move on. Take a trip on a big jet. We're going to go to the place where the mutants won. Let me try that again. I will edit that out.
Okay.
Now it's time to get on a jet, and we're going to move on to the Savage Land and check in with the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week, Chris and I are doing the IMDb plot keywords game. Folks, this is pretty simple. You put in a name of a movie, and then you also search IMDb plot keywords, and it gives you a list of maybe anywhere from 50 to 100 keywords based on the plot of a movie, and they can either be relevant or vague, and we will say these plot keywords, and the other person tries to guess what the movie is based on the plot keywords. There's no penalty for guessing the movie along the way. But there's going to probably be a mercy rule that we eventually have to let the person give up. So this doesn't go on for days, or we actually then say what the actual movie is based on a really, really general keyword. So with that, Chris, would you like to guess or read the plot keywords?
I'll guess.
Okay, you're gonna guess. Okay, so I'll kick this off, and then the topic this week is superhero movies based on a comic book. So we had to narrow it down just because it would be too vague to start riffing these off, because you could go anywhere from like a Stallone film to a Oscar winner, but they could be both. So here we go, folks. So I'm gonna start saying off these plot keywords now, and Chris will guess the movie.
Okay.
Maybe.
Here we go.
Villain. Tough guy. Hero. Good man. Good woman. Character name as title. Murder of a police officer. Billboard. Surrealism. Restaurant. Love interest. Atomic bomb. Revolver. Psychotronic film. Guilty pleasure. City. Bomb. Invisibility. New York City. You're gonna love this one. Hairy chest.
What?
Silver dress. Father-daughter relationship. Taxi. 1930s. Mafia. Monk. Exploding car. Crime fighter. Anti-hero.
Like The Spirit?
Murder. Mind control. Supernatural
Extraordinary
power.
Gentleman?
Tibet.
Doctor
Secret
Strange?
Identity. Let's see if I get a little reference to Genghis Khan.
My God. Genghis Khan.
Let me keep looking here.
Movie is like Genghis Khan.
These are.
Talking about like Kingsman? No.
Let's see. Let's see what else. Bad guy turns good. Based on a pulp magazine.
Oh man, I am drawing a
film. Okay. Extrasensory perception. Ghost.
It can't be the Phantom.
Ghost. Neo noir.
Sin City.
No.
Oh my God.
Um, Socialite,
So
super
he's got to be
speed,
what?
supernatural power,
Super speed, supernatural power.
telepathy,
What? What kind of like it's got like every superpower here.
television,
War, television.
temple,
Oh,
um,
man.
scientist,
Wait, wait, what?
ring, radio.
I don't know. I am totally
Okay. Any
totally
last
out.
guesses?
I mean, like Tintin? No, it can't be Tintin.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Do you give up?
Yes, I do give up.
Okay. The movie in question was 1994's The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
Oh my! I said the spirit.
Oh, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because there was the Spirit movie, which I never watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So The Shadow. Yeah, I remember seeing this film. I don't remember much about it, but he changed his appearance, and he had like the ability to like cloud men's minds. And
Yeah.
but other than that, I mean, apparently Genghis Khan was in this, so I don't remember much about it, to be honest.
And then what was the Dark Man was the other one, right? That was
Yeah, that was modern. Sam
Liam
Raimi did
Neeson,
that, but
right?
there was
Yeah.
a movie that came out of it, or comic book that came out of it, but it actually was original creation. So, but yeah, yeah. So there you go. I mean, I picked almost every one except for, let's see, it was right on the nose, reference to The Shadow, and the movie's called The Shadow.
The Shadow.
So,
Yeah.
so essentially, I just didn't have a lot of great movie things. Yeah, there
Yeah.
wasn't titles spoken by character. I don't know. So there you go. Sorry, folks. If anybody got that, let us
Oh,
know though.
man.
But we can't prove
Thanks.
it. But yeah. So check out The Shadow. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. All
Maybe.
right, Chris. I put you through pain, so now you get to return the favor.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. I'm you might get this like very quickly, but let's see. Here we go. Man. Dystopia. Oh man, that's really helpful. Family affairs. Passionate kissing. Half sister in love with half brother.
Oh, I think I might know this one.
Yeah.
Is this The Crow?
Yeah. Right on.
That's the one. We saw that a couple of years ago. And I remember that was an odd choice.
I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do here? But and funny enough, actually, what's his name? Skarsgård is supposed to be playing him in a
That's
reboot.
right, playing him. That's right. This is one of those movies that people
Bill
are
Skarsgård.
like, "Will this ever happen?" And
Yeah.
yeah.
Apparently
Wow.
wrapped. They apparently wrapped in filming.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, well, I hope you had fun, Chris. I mean,
I'm still flabbergasted that I missed that name. I was like, I could see the name, I could see it, and like him going like this with this cape and everything. I'm like, whatever. I messed that up.
don't worry. Alec Baldwin probably doesn't even remember he was in the movie. Well,
Right.
very good. Well, hopefully everybody had a good time with this game. You can play it at home. I don't own the rights. Go to IMDb and quiz your friends, especially if you're bored at a dinner table. Do it. It's fun. With that, Chris, thank you for joining us. Tell people where they can find you around the interwebs.
Oh man, I will sometimes sprinkle some stuff on Twitter at TC1H1D. That's my handle there. We have a link tree for all of our where we're all at link dot what is it link.tree. I don't know what the link tree
It's something
slash
like that.
TC1H1D. All our socials and stuff like that are there, and yeah, and Discord. I'm there as well, wherever that may be. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on again, and talking geeky stuff. So
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure talking with you, Chris. We have a good time. Chris is very active on many Discords across the way. Has a great journal you can buy through his website that you can document your gaming, which is a throwback to the way it used to be, which is documenting, drawing maps, or whatever you choose to do. So please support the team. It's a great Xbox podcast where he and his co-host basically check out one game for 1 hour and make a decision based on Game Pass, I guess, recommendation, right? You do a random game generator.
Randomly, or we'll get people to suggest a game for us, and we'll check them out if we haven't played
And
it
the
already.
podcast is only typically 20 minutes or so you don't actually have to listen to it for an hour.
Yes, yeah.
Unless it is an hour, then please do.
Right. Yeah. Well, not always, but yeah.
Well, very, very good. Well, thank you, Chris, again. This is a pleasure. Always love having you on, and hopefully you'll have you back on in the future. And with that, folks, you can reach me, Todd Oxtra, everywhere around the web, specifically on Threads at Toxtra. Secret Friends Unite is also there at Secret Friends Unite, which is nice. Thanks, Threads, for letting us use the whole name. And on Twitter at Secret Friends U and at Toxtra. Check out our Discord. Check out our website. Check out our YouTube channel, and check out our Patreon. But with that, we'll say thank you, Chris, for joining us. And remember, folks, be the hero, not the villain.
Catchphrase.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.